Welcome back. This morning, we're giving a voice to victims like 2-year-old Parker Scholtes, who died in a hot car last year. This is her father's preparing to go to trial, accused of causing her death. Christopher Scholtes is facing a first-degree murder charge for beautiful Parker's death. He's pleaded not guilty, and his trial is set to begin on October 27th. This week, the judge ruled that information that Scholtes was searching for porn online while little Parker was in the hot car cannot be shared with the jury. That is a significant win for the defense team. Scholtes told police officers that Parker was sleeping in the car, so he left her there.
She was sleeping in the car, and I had the car on, but it has a sensor where every 30 minutes or so it'll turn off if you haven't moved. I swore she was in the house playing with her sisters like she always does.
Now, the judge also ruled that witnesses can't mention that Scholtes searched for porn on his PlayStation. Okay, so let's talk about that right call. Let's bring back in attorney David Bruno and welcome in parenting and family relationship expert Dr. Sue Kornbluth. Good morning to you both. So David, this search for pornography, nobody is going to know about this. Witnesses can't say it. The attorneys can't say it. Is that the right call by the court?
I'm scratching my head on this one. I mean, it is extremely probative as to what he was doing, especially such deviance on the device. With that being said, though, when we talk about appeals on these types of issues, we're talking about bad character evidence. We're talking about other acts and things like that. It's one of the most frequently issues that are reversed. So it's being sanitized. The court is not just removing it altogether. The prosecutor is still able to say that he was on his device and he was doing leisurely activities. So I think it's one of those situations where the court's probably sanitizing it to protect the record moving forward. Because this is a very, very strong case for the prosecutor in a sense that he's on his device, but there's also prior incidents involving other children where he was warned by not only his wife, but also police. So I believe I wouldn't have excluded it personally if I was on the bench for this particular issue. But with that being said, sanitizing it is a little protection for the record moving forward.
Yes, and we're going to get into those other incidents with Dr. Sue in just a moment. David, I want to change the facts for you a little bit because I had this discussion with my colleagues and I think we were really getting somewhere. We noticed that the language in all of the documents says he was searching for porn. It's very distinct what police are saying, searching, not necessarily watching. Big difference. Now, if there was information that he had been watching pornography for some period of time while that beautiful little girl is in the car suffering, do you think that then the court may have said, well, this should come in because this is part of the series of events that led up to what's in question?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a gap there as to the conduct during the searching or the, watching or whatever, right? I'm sure he didn't come out and talk about that in his statement and his interrogation. With that being said, certainly any one of those sort of hypotheticals, Julie, in my mind, is probative, extremely probative. And just because something's probative and prejudicial, at the same time, doesn't mean it gets excluded. There's a lot of things that are probative and prejudicial that come into jury trials.
Isn't that the truth? David, thank you for that. Dr. Sue, I want to turn to you about some of the previous incidents with Scholtes leaving kids in the car. Police say that an ambulance rushed little Parker to the hospital. Mom, Erica Scholtes, texted her husband, quote, "I told you to stop leaving them in the car. How many times have I told you?" Scholtes responded to her, "Babe, I'm sorry." Then Parker's mom texted, "We've lost her. She was perfect." Christopher Scholtes writes, "Babe, our family, how could I do this? I killed our baby. This can't be real." Dr. Sue, your thoughts on the family dynamics here?
Yes, good morning, David and Julie. I think what was going on in this family was what I would call abusive parenting style. And what that is, it can be physical, it can be emotional, it can be sexual. But what I think we're focused on here is neglect. And what keeps coming up for me, Julie, in this family dynamic is if the mother knew of his past history, and she also knew that this was something that happened before, why leave the child with him again and again? That sets up a pattern here that he wasn't safe for her to be around. So that's one of the first questions that I would have here. The other thing is, sometimes parents, they do forget that their kid is in the car because it's like habit memory. But once they get in the house and they realize they're not in there, they run out and get their child. Here, he sat down and was doing things, whether it was porn or whatever it was. His mind was not on his child. It seems that it was on himself. So I think there's a pattern here of abusive parenting. And I think that's what needs to be focused on here. We must put our children first before anything else. That is our job as a parent.
Amen, Dr. Sue. Let's take a listen to Scholtes speaking with police when he's asked about just how long little Parker was in the car.
How long was she sleeping in the car out there?
I want to say it was no more than 30, 45 minutes. And I don't think her air was off that entire time. I think there was a time in between. I checked on her last. It was still running. She was still sleeping. And then when I went back out, the car was off.
Okay, so we know it was really more like 3 hours that Parker was in that car. And we know that there were complaints made with Chris Scholtes' daughter from another female partner. And they were deemed to be unfounded by Child and Family Services. And the daughter, though, was still moved into the care of mom, even though the complaints weren't given any validation by the state. Still, the child went with mom. Dr. Sue, what does that tell you, please?
Well, right, Julie, they're allegations, and sometimes that happens in high contentious relationships that will be, filed. But what I think happened here and what we're seeing and what it tells me, there's a pattern of something going on in his parenting style. And again, it's neglect to me. It's abuse. It's things that I think they're going to use in court to prove that there's a pattern here of him being, having abusive behaviors towards his children. So when we're looking, psychologically at these things, we're looking at patterns of behavior that can establish that possibly abuse has happened. The biggest thing, again, is that he did not go out to that car after an hour and a half. So did he just forget that he had a daughter that was sitting in the car? And to me, it's just neglect, neglect, neglect.
Yes, I think he should have taken the deal. He was offered a plea to second-degree murder to do 25 years. He rejected that, so now he's going to trial on charges of first-degree murder. We'll see how that works out for him. Big thanks to David Bruno and Dr. Sue Kornbluth, and thank you at home for being with us. We're going to hit a break. When we come back, coming up on opening statements, we have a case in Cleveland we're going to take you to. But first, we want to remember the victim, in this case in Arizona. Show you beautiful Parker Scholtes' picture. This little angel had so much life ahead of her. Everyone said she always had a smile on her face, a joyful spirit. Gone way too soon. We'll be right back.